Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
This is the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli, and it is May 4th, 2025. I am sitting here in the Midwest, suburban Chicago, and I am waiting patiently for some nice weather to hit, because it has been a lot of rain, gloom, and 55 degrees or lower in the past several months here. And whatever, that's what we're used to. That's what we signed up for. It's where I live. So this is just part of the routine, the annual routine, waiting for summer and getting outside. So, hey, you know what, though? There's lots of factors of sunlight and being happy. But, hey, you know me. I'm not going to sit here and talk about being happy. I don't know what that is. You know me. I'm Mr. Mad. I'm Mr. Angry. I'm pissed a lot. That's all right. I'm not as pissed as you might think, but you know what? That comes from somewhere, and we're going to figure out why. Not today. And this isn't about me. This is about you. This is about everybody else, including me, and why everybody is so upset. And I don't know about you, but I have noticed in the past decade that there are people out there that are just getting more and more impatient, more angry, more just irritable. And I don't know what's going on. And I'm not trying to point fingers or anything like that, because I want to tell you right now that I am one of those people and have been one of those people, but I'm trying to not be one of those people. So I wanted to put it out there first and foremost that I am not here on a pedestal telling all of you what you're doing wrong and how to fix it. I am going to kind of just analyze what I've seen in society, what I think can help, how I can be better, and alleviate this nastiness that seems to be permeating throughout the world. There's actually a lot of good in the world that we don't see and we don't care about, but people will shit all over it in certain cases. And we're never going to achieve world peace. And I'll tell you that. And that's not to be a pessimist. That's a realist, because what people think is good differentiates very greatly from person to person throughout the world. So you can kind of put that away, because if you're not going to see world peace in your lifetime as badly as you'd like that. And as much as I would love to see that, this is not going to happen. That means everyone has to kind of agree. And that's just not who we are as people. It's just not how the human species is wired. We're going to all be a little different. We all have different ways. We all have different upbringings and pasts, and those shape us throughout our lives. And if you haven't been through something that somebody else has been through, you're not going to understand that. You're not going to understand their rage. You're not going to understand why they're like that. Do they have to work on themselves and fix this? And then should you be a victim of their traumas? No, you shouldn't. But that's what's going on. And no, you don't have to feel bad about it if you're not going to understand them. They need to learn to understand themselves. We each need to understand ourselves in an individual basis and kind of create a peaceful place inside. And that's the closest we'll get to peace amongst in the world. The problem is that we keep on screaming and yelling on the internet, especially, of other people to change and stop saying this. I don't like this. This hurts my feelings. That hurts your feelings. This hurts my neighbor's feelings. Fuck you. That's what we have. But that's not the way to do it. The right way, in my opinion, in my belief, is everyone needs to understand their own selves, their own personal traumas, their own triggers, what's fucking up their lives, where they need to go, and then they need to do this quietly, internally, through therapy, through meditation, through medication, whatever it is. You have to handle it yourself. The world is too big, too vast, expanding too quickly. We're at 8 billion and something, and you're not going to change the world by screaming to your 347 followers on Instagram. You're not. You might feel like it. You might get a few likes, and that's going to make you feel good inside. But really all you did was just put out a bunch of negativity, and whoever else is feeling that same negativity is going to click like and agree with you, and you feel validated, and you go to sleep, and you've done nothing. You haven't helped yourself. You haven't helped anybody else. You just kind of sat in a pit of misery, and people have coddled it along with you and said, I'm in it. So that's what we kind of do on the internet here. But like, why is everybody so upset? That is what I'm doing this podcast episode for. Why are we so upset? What is going on? We live in the best time that's ever existed. I don't care what you say. There's a lot of shit going on, but we have so much technology. We have the most best cures for diseases right now. We have, surgeries that can be done that couldn't have been done 100 years ago. If you went back 100 years and you had a disease or surgery and what they had to do, you would be freaking the fuck out because the way they were doing it back then was terrifying. And, now you live in a time where that's okay. And yes, healthcare sucks. Paying for it sucks. The people that work in it are overwhelmed and there's ways around it, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I went to AI, which is also another scary thing for the future, and kind of gave its own answers here. And I'm going to read those. And one of them is its own enemy. But I'll get to that. The first thing that I asked AI is AI told me several factors contribute to a heightened anger and irritability, including stress from the pandemic, political division, economic anxieties, and a general sense of uncertainty. Increased anger can be tied to factors like poor sleep, financial difficulties, and perceived lack of control over one's life. Okay, that is a good synopsis. There's another underlying thing that wasn't mentioned by AI, and that is your past and your traumas that you have dealt with, that you have been through. Some people aren't even aware of it, and that's not to knock them. They just haven't exposed it yet. And most people are either masking that unintentionally or intentionally through other ways. And it's when their anger pops up. That's kind of what's coming out a little bit. So AI went on here for stress and uncertainty was their first bullet point. And one of it was from the pandemic and COVID-19. I don't care. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I don't care if you're one of those people who wears 3 masks alone in the car, or you're someone who will never get a vaccine again because of this thing. I don't care where you lie. You've been affected by this and you're upset and you're angry and you're scared and you're nervous about it because of it. And we all are, because no one ever expected something like this to happen in their lifetimes. You've read about it in history books, and it's just when you read in history books into the back, you just think it's never going to happen to me. It almost feels like it's a story from the past. Like, that's just a story. That's just never going to happen again. Then we lived it. We lived through something. Whether you believe that this thing was actually some kid eating a bat's head and then it got into the society, or whether you think it's biological warfare from China, or the accidental Wuhan leak, whatever the hell it is, whatever everyone's kind of agreeing on now, that it was from a lab, that it got out on accident. That's what we're going to go with. Fine. I don't care. Me, I don't vax. I don't do any of that. I didn't wear masks. I pissed a lot of people off, and I have no regrets over that because I stood up for myself and my family. We didn't get our vaccines, and nobody, it doesn't matter. My kids are fine, and it's good. And I feel good about not getting vaccinated, and I'm proud of it. And it will stay that way. And it pisses some people off. It really does. Because, and that's part of the polarization, political polarization, because they politicize the whole fucking thing. And that's the next bullet point here from AI. Deeply divided political landscapes create frustration and anger, with people feeling increasingly unheard and unrepresented. Because mainly that we have to kind of come to this idea that if you're going to, politicians, I believe, there's a different mindset that you have to be a politician. I don't believe that you go into it trying to be saving the world. I think you go into it with certain sorts of power gain and pride and other factors that maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to name any presidential candidates by name, but they're all the same. Okay. They're all the fucking same. It's all one big bullshit show, in my opinion. And I think that they're just like the puppet masters, and there's a left and a right hand, and they're making us, and we're falling for it. We're the minions. We're freely just championing and petitioning for a certain side freely, while they tax the shit out of you, and then they're making you hate the other side as much as you can. I think that's the reason Donald Trump was even put into this game, was because he is easy to hate. And people do hate him, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about any side, and I don't. I just see what's going on here right now, and I don't care if I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I believe this is all one big show. I believe the two-party system started for a good reason. I believe that was to prevent tyranny and oligarchy and this kind of shit, and it's kind of stemmed into this warfare, internal warfare, and hate and negativity. It's all negative. There's no positive to this. It's anger. Very rarely are people, pushing for their own side. They hate their other side more. And I don't think that's a good way to live. I think that's disgusting. And I don't care what people say about it. And, we have this deep rooted, like, I don't know, it's so bad. I don't know how to put it into words. It's just this cling to this side, and it's polarizing to where there's no gray area any longer. And you really can't sit there and compromise, because I think people nowadays have such big egos because of how the world is and how exposed we are. We all feel like we're on a stage if we have a social media account, and people know what's going on in our lives and have their own perceptions to that. And what's kind of fucked up, if you really think about this, to get off track just a little bit, I want you to think about this, because this really will blow your mind if you don't really have never thought it before. This might not be news to you, but excuse me, I've always thought it was cool and fucking weird to think that, like, you have a vision of yourself. You have a way, whether you're conscious or not, you have a way of yourself, how you carry yourself, who you are, who you want to be, what character you're playing on the internet, who you are as a human being. You have this, and you think this of yourself. And I'm going to tell you, how many people do you know? So, see people at different levels, right? And I'm going to tell you right now that not one single person shares how you feel about yourself with you to the fullest. Some people might be 90% there, some maybe 10, some misunderstand you, some don't. And that to know that every single human I want you to rattle off the top 10 people that you associate with on a daily basis, those close to you, your own kids, your parents, your siblings, your spouses, your significant others, friends, whoever it is. They all have a different internal view of you, whether they're right or wrong. And some people don't know their own, and that doesn't mean that they're wrong all the time or you're right all the time. It means that there's a gray area of who you actually are. Some people don't know who they are. They don't know what they're making, the mistakes they're making, the things they're saying, that they're not seeing different things. It's just, it's wild. And this is not like a thing to be fixed. It's going to be forever because of who we are as a species. Someone's going to have a view of you, and I think that kind of makes people go nuts, and they're going to just associate with that. And the problem we're seeing now is, with that political polarization kind of infiltrating into social media, which I think is one of the most disastrous combinations we've ever seen in our lifetime, is politics and social media coming together, is disastrous. And I think that has been an issue, because what people will do is they will literally, no matter how you say stuff, I've been blown away with some things that have been replied to me, to others, that people will go ahead and just read two or three sentences that you wrote on a belief you have or something like that. And they will go ahead and associate an entire political ideology to you, pin this all on you, everything else that they think. And it's not even like by the book, it's what they think. It's their own views. They're going to pull all that out, and while they're reading angrily your comment, they're going ahead and in their heads, without even knowing it, they're churning out this vision of you. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be negative. And I think a lot of people too, whether you say something positive or negative, they're going to want to come out there and just destroy you in a sense, because they're miserable themselves. A lot of that is projecting. And that's what we're seeing. And it's very easy, especially for people that have like maybe a nameless account, where they're totally incognito. They won't have any personal repercussions to their words on social media. They're going to go ahead and just rip that out. And then you hear that, you see it, you respond, and now everyone's in a bad mood. You get in the car because you're pissed off about this argument with this stranger, and you get in the car and you're driving like an idiot now. And now that turns into real life road rage. And bam, and now your day sucks because of that. So I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know. You just got to facilitate it. I think cutting off social media might be too extreme, because it's a very accepted part of society right now, and it's very out there. But I don't know. But I think another one, even more so than that AI gives me, is economic anxiety, financial instability, job insecurity, and the cost of living have left many stressed and vulnerable. This is probably the root of the most of it all. Because what happened here in the last 5 years, and I'm not blaming a party, a president. I'm sorry, but I think it's lazy and silly and just wrong to just blatantly blame the party you hate because of how the world is. It's so easy and stupid. It's just stupid. If you go through all the different presidencies in the last several years, it's just like, dude, it's all the same shit. It's all the same crap. It's just worded differently, and you've been trained to hate somebody and hate their followers and divide everybody so they can tax you. That's it. And that's the financial instability you're feeling with the hikes in taxes, the amount of how much it costs to live, the groceries. And I've seen it. People are just, the groceries shot up in 2022-ish, okay, under the Biden administration, and they're still very high here 3 months into the Trump administration. Yet you have idiots, flat out idiots on the internet blaming presidents. Like, I'm not sitting here and Biden's this and that because of this. No, like, things have happened. It's so surface level to just yell and bitch about like a president. It's like, that's what they want. I don't even think the president's doing as much as they think. They just put these people out here so you can bitch about them and hate each other more. So, well, they can just further take you into their side and watch this war go on, and this weaponless war, this digital war happen between us, and they can just boost your taxes. And what are they going to do when they boost your taxes? Guess what they do? Guess what happens? What do people do? They yell at each other. They yell, "Oh, you voted for this. You voted for that. Why aren't my grocery prices?" Trump is in office for like 2 weeks, and and then the liberals are like, grocery prices haven't gone down. Like, you just have raging TDS, and TDS is real. It's very real. Trump derangement syndrome. And it goes both ways too, but it's just very prevalent on one side because Trump is so, he just triggers people, or however he does. It's just, he lives in people's heads. It's unbelievable, and it's scary. I never once, and there's people out there that will blame Biden for everything. They just don't seem to get it and hear it as hard. But if you're doing the same thing, look, to show you that I'm like unbiased here, like the Trump derangement syndrome, 100% real, very real. But so would Biden derangement syndrome, or whoever, Obama, a derangement syndrome. It's actually just becoming so infatuated or hate-filled towards a certain president that person lives in your head rent-free, and you just bring up that. I've seen Donald Trump brought up out of nowhere. I've seen people post things about, like, literally, like, why aren't our grocery prices down? Like, what the fuck do you want to happen in 2 weeks? Why was it not done previously? You know what I mean? And then, people are also like, you can tell a financially illiterate person who kind of like will take a snapshot of the stock market, the Dow or whatever it is, whatever soothes their little, preference. They'll put like a 2-day thing of the market going down under a specific president and say, look what happened. I'm sorry, but if you're taking a 2-day clip off the market and you're going to try to like pin the entire presidency on that, you don't know anything. You're kind of like exposing yourself as financially illiterate if you believe that a 2-day market dip, or even long, or even like a 2-week, or even a month or whatever. Like in 2022, the market tanked. The market tanked under Joe Biden. Tanked. It went down so far in like 2022. And I'm not a fan, I'm just going to tell you, of Democrats, of liberals, of Joe Biden, and definitely not of Kamala Harris at all, whatsoever. I'm not at all. But what I didn't do was piss and moan on the internet. You know what I did? I bought stock because it went down in price. And then guess what happened? It went up. And not just under Trump. It went up with Biden still in office. And guess what? I made money. I mean, I didn't make money because you don't make money unless you sell in the stock market. All right. So, when the stock market dips, you just go and you buy. I mean, you just buy stock at a lower price. It's like dumb. And instead of going on the internet pissing, like, it doesn't get you anywhere. So anyways, that's economic anxiety, though. To get back into a more like, hey, positive spot here, people, you have a valid reason, because right now, and like, believe me, there's a lot of people out there. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. The old boomer out there. I worked 42 years and blah, 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 these kids today. You know what, boomer? Let me tell you something. Shit's changed. And normally I would not have talked like this 5, 6, 7 years ago, because I would have said it's entitlement, laziness, and bullshit. And yeah, you got to work harder. The problem is there's still a group of people out there that believe in hard work. Hard work is silly, and smart work is where we need to be. So you got to work smart. And unfortunately, the system has stacked this against people. I mean, when a modest apartment is $3,000, $2,000 to $3,000, we'll say, for rent, and wages haven't increased anywhere near that to afford something like that. It's a problem. It's a huge problem. When property taxes in certain areas, exceed $10,000, that's another problem. This is not okay. This is very fucked up. And this is causing this economic anxiety, and people are feeling that. And in turn, they start turning on each other and lashing out their frustrations. Last one from AI here is is uncertainty. The unpredictable nature of the world, political events, blah, 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 can lead to anxiety and potentially anger. So I think the problem is like what you've seen out there is a lot of panic with nothing happening. I have seen this a lot, and I have kind of been there. In 2021. I did panic a bit when the Illinois passed some law for the police officers and kind of crippling them in their job a little bit. I did panic a little bit then. I made some life changes, but I didn't need to. I don't think. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it rolls. But I just kind of see the news cycle likes to make an issue a big deal, and if you've followed it at all, you'll notice that like right before the election, they made women's rights, the abortion idea, a huge issue at the end of leading up to the election. To me, that was sort of if it's what we're seeing, if it's not just one big, conglomerate factors, one big piece. What I saw was that was just some sort of last ditch effort after Kamala Harris sort of blew it completely. And, you almost just had to be like, wow, that was terrible. But I think they kind of like resorted to that. And as you can see, that became a very big thing. And, that's when you see the marches and the protests. And this happens. And then after the election, everyone else was freaking out about other things. It's just when big changes happen in the world, freak out is like our new way. Like we shouldn't have that. We should have optimism no matter who it is. That's why life should be like that. I don't care who wins the election. We should have optimism as a whole unit of people. That would be beautiful, wouldn't it? But we don't. Instead, we have millions and millions of people concerned and worrying and spreading fear that doesn't need to be there. And fear is the pandemic that we have been under. It's the one that we don't talk about. It's the one that I'm going to talk about here in AI's second sector of individual factors. Poor sleep. We're not getting enough sleep because of our hustle culture, which I'll get into another time. Financial stress, I just talked about. Overwhelm. People might need to be working 2 jobs right now. How are you going to work 2 jobs, manage a family, pay for daycare? Now you're spinning your wheels because you're giving thousands of dollars to some kid who's making $15 an hour to watch your kid and 7 other kids at the same time. Mental health. No, people are starting to care more about that. That needs to be addressed as well. That's a huge issue, especially when it comes to the shootings that we have here. And not just school shootings, but all of them, whether that be gang related, any type of shooting. I'm sorry, if you're going to shoot somebody, you have a mental health issue. I don't care what it is, unless you're in self-defense. That's the only other way other than that. But if you're going to shoot somebody for whatever reason, you have a mental issue. Murder is not good. It's not for me, not for you. Fear in general, right here. Some cases, fear can trigger anger responses. Actually, I don't even think in some cases. I think fear is 99.9% of the reason people are angry. They're scared, and instead of showing, actual fear, they like reverse it to that emotion needs to get out, and anger is what comes out. And then who do they get angry with? Probably some stranger on social media or their loved ones, people close to them, their kids, their spouses, their significant others, their parents, their siblings, or their friends. And who knows? But that's just the way it kind of goes. AI also says social factors, social media exposure to negativity and unrealistic portrayals on social media can contribute to feelings of inadequacy and anger. Holy hell. Yeah, you see what we're building here? Social media, and getting away from the political side of it all. The fakeness. It's so fake. The AI who's doing this with me is going to mess it all up. Look at the filters. People are phony and fake. When you're sitting there and you're in your bed feeling like a blob, not feeling good about yourself, maybe you just ate a giant meal or some shit, and you start seeing people putting their absolute best phony ass photos of themselves and their lives out on social media, you will either probably subconsciously start to feel bad about your life because it just looks like everybody else is doing better things at that time. Little do you know that these people are struggling with the exact same things as you. They just happen to be posting right now, and they just are probably just being overly optimistic and happy, which is great. It's good to see, but let's just be realistic here now. That is just the highlight reel of people's lives. Okay. And then you can't win, right? Like, people are going to put out their highlight reels, their family, their fitness, their fun, whatever they're doing. Or, if you start putting out your problems, you're going to just look like you're airing your laundry and you're a victim and you want help and you're just looking for attention. However it's perceived. Next up on societal factors is political discourse. Politics coming again, not surprising. The intensity and negativity of political discourse can heighten anger and frustration. And then lack of control is feeling powerless or unable to control aspects of their lives can lead to frustration, which is why I have always been one. And it's right now, I get it. A lot of people are out there trying to survive, and financially especially. And I get it. But the best way to control your time is controlling your money and getting that to a position to where you don't have to work for anybody anymore, because that's what takes up the vast majority of your time. And then we have the last one here is everyone is mad at me feeling low self-esteem. This is kind of, I suffer from this low self-esteem. Let's see. Individuals with low self-esteem may be more prone to feeling that others are judging or disapproving them, leading them to a sense of being constantly targeted. Childhood trauma, experiences of emotional invalidation or abuse in childhood, can contribute to a sense of being constantly scrutinized, and at risk of others. I would like to just put out there that even though I sometimes have this low self-esteem, low self-worth feel to me, I don't have childhood trauma in that sense that they've said here. Avoidant attachment. Those who are avoidant attachment style may be more prone to interpreting others' actions negatively, perceiving them as signs of anger or disapproval. So you're sort of just seeing everything as a negative. So to conclude this sector of this, anger is a normal human emotion. The current climate of stress, uncertainty, and social pressures may be contributing to its increased prevalence. Understanding these factors can help coping with this and seek support as needed. So I took another article here to just go right into it. It's from Psychology Today. 7 reasons everyone seems so angry all the time. I'm going to go ahead and reduce that to 6. This is by Kurt W. Ella. And I just flat out disagree with one of his, which is climate change. And I'm not going to waste my time with that because I don't believe in that at all. So I'm not going to read that part. So if you were curious, that's what it is. All right. So first off, why are we feeling so angry? He states here, and this is specific. It looks like to Americans. So we're tired, according to the CDC prevention. 1 in 3 Americans are reporting not getting enough sleep every day. That can be several different things of reasons why. It could just be the stress and anxiety of life disrupts sleep. If the sleep is disrupted, that's just making everybody sick. Okay. So he says we're overwhelmed. The average person receives 121 emails or messages per day. That's a lot, considering that we have up until, say, maybe, 2 decades ago, were unreachable at times, to where we lived in a world where if we weren't home with a landline, we could not be reached. I think it was the mid 90s when pagers even came to be a thing. Otherwise, you needed to find a payphone. And that's a very small percentage of this. And I think that's a big part of why everyone's feeling the way they are, because they feel like we have to be on and available at all times for everyone. Like, why didn't you answer me? And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's a boss, it's a spouse, it's a significant other, it's a child, it's a friend, it's somebody that's a coworker, that's a client, that's somebody that you need to be reached and you need to be responded to. And as our like patience dwindles, we think then we start getting angry at that person for not responding yet. Now we have animosity with them when they might be doing something that you don't even know about, like taking care of a sick relative. Who knows? Anyways, we are afraid. We are also afraid, he says. The media plays a big role in this one, although so does reality. In my home city, he says, Washington, D.C. carjackings have been up for 6 straight years. According to a media report, these crimes happen anywhere at any time. So they're reporting these crimes and this hysteria. And since the study shows that fear promotes anger, as we talked about before, this is just how we are. We live afraid. We live very afraid, and it's just the way we are. We're stuck in a zero-sum game. I thought this was kind of an interesting one. I didn't think about this one, and this seems to be true. So I'm going to read this one in full. I used to tell my patients that life is not a zero-sum game, to take some pressure off of them. While this remains true in some instances, the stakes are getting higher, unfortunately. By way of example, a neighbor asked me which camps I am putting my children in this summer. When I named a few of the possibilities, he said something like, "Oh, if you haven't booked those yet, it's too late." This was in February, going for summer camp. Other cities are similar competitive, just trying to get last-minute reservations. At a restaurant, yeah, it's booked. If you go to church late on a holiday, good luck getting parking in a spot. Life has become more competitive, which creates tension, a precursor for anger when things don't work out. So, I mean, that's true. I never thought of that until I read this. That, like, they're making stuff so exclusive or unattainable in a way to where you have to feel rushed and you have to do it right now. I feel that myself in a lot of things. Like, I have to do this now or else it's going to be taken. We're broke. Just as things are getting more competitive, they're getting similarly more expensive. One does not need to look at inflation statistics to realize this. We need to go to this. We just need to go to the supermarket or book a vacation. Not surprisingly, financial worries have been limited to greater psychology distress. Since anger can be a symptom of many psychological disorders, including depression, anxiety, alcoholism, and post-traumatic stress disorder, psychological stress and anger can go hand in hand. Yes, so being broke will do that. We're also in pain. Studies show that like 1/3 of the world is in chronic pain. So what do we do about this? Make peace with ourselves and others. Be kind to yourself, forgive yourself, and forgive others. And he says something called STOP, stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed. So I think that's a big thing, to kind of stop in your tracks and just go forward a little bit. And I do apologize for my reading on that one. That got a little tongue-tied, but that happens. That happens. So anyways, I went to social media and I asked these questions. Why is everybody so upset? And I got a few answers, and I'll go through them right now. Cindy Sexton says, lack of mental, physical, and emotional health. And she nailed it, because I believe that is something that we're lacking, all levels of it. And I think emotional health is the most neglected of all of that. I believe that hasn't even scratched the surface of who we are as beings. I'll get into that another time and need to learn more. Victim mentality, says Becky DeStefano. And I've done a podcast on victim mentality that I bring up all the time with Vinny Centimore, retired Army veteran. So, the victim mentality will keep you upset and stuck. And it's a very sick thing and very sick place to be in. You will never help yourself with a victim mentality. And most people with that aren't actual victims. Some are. It's the mentality around it that you have to focus on. Wandering woodsman, we have no culture, no sense of community, and no shared values. Okay, can't argue with that. Assuming that's the United States here that we're talking about, it's really just kind of, hey, go to work, come home, do chores, get drunk on the weekend, and go back, right? Body by Yoli. I have a lot to say about this one, so I'll DM you. Okay, so I will read that in a second. Rula Kibler says, because we really have zero control of what our government does or stands for. We've kind of been through that a little bit, and ultimately we do have no control over it. I don't even think our vote matters as much as we believe it does. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Come at me. Jamie Lee MX says, societal pressures or time crunch for everything. Agreed. And we just kind of talked about that time crunch for everything. Everything's a rush. Everything needs to happen now. This is not a good way to live. This is hustle culture. That is what we just talked about on the Psychology Today article, where this guy says the zero-sum game, to where, hey, you have to book that now or else it's too late. We want to put pressure on people to spend their money. Not only are we hurting to make money, and are we short on time and money due to work. Like we are. Wages aren't comparable with life right now. But at the same time, you need to be on time with enough money to get things done. So it's a very, very, very tough game to play. I got a feel for most people. I really do. And Xtina Nahal says, no purpose or belief in higher power / God. Okay, yeah, that's another one. The belief in God is down somewhere around 81% now in the United States. So that's something. Then I also asked, how do we fix it? Cindy Sexton says, get out of the damn house and watch a sunrise, connect with Earth, and be grateful. Very good things to do. Very hard to go ahead and feel that. Very good to go ahead and go through those actions, but tough to go ahead and let it just settle inside of you. It's not easy. Becky DeStefano says, focus on what you can control, which is a great, it's white noise now, but it's a great statement. Focus on what you can control. If you can't control it, don't think about it and don't get mad about it. Wandering Woodsman says, day by day, be a solution. Make an effort to be a good neighbor. Find ways to be kind. Again, he kind of echoes what I said at the beginning of this, of just kind of being, you got to do this for yourself. What you do day in, day out. Don't try to change the whole world and yell and scream about other people changing. When you do that, you're going to create more animosity and friction by telling other people to change. You change, right? That's what you need to do. We need to make the change. We need to be the example. Body by Yuli says, we need to make time as individuals to go outside, to plan dates with friends like we used to. So yeah, like kind of get away from this screen time and be together and be one. And then Jamie Lee MX says, higher consciousness and bonus, it's totally free. So totally agree with that fully and completely. So those were some good responses, and I definitely want to thank everybody that kind of said that. There was another one here that I have to read, and I'm going to get to. Body by Yoli wanted to write more that she could fit into the little box. So she says, there's nothing to really complain about when you think about it. Life is easy. When our generation was growing, we had to go outside to have fun, and we had to go search for our friends. We had to find ways. Now we have phones. There's no need to go out and be uncomfortable. In life, we need to have something to look forward to. So now people are upset over the smallest things. People are upset over everything and anything. And I agree with that. It's like kind of like, let's take Amazon as an example of like, how quickly you can get something on Amazon Prime. You can have certain things delivered to your house in a matter of hours. But like now, if you can't get something immediately, there's like, oh, well, fuck you. Now I'm pissed off and I'm mad. You know what I'm getting at? So it's kind of like this impatience, like technology's gotten so good that if something little goes wrong, we can't handle it. I think that's a lot of what she was getting at right there. So I also want to read, this is from Kathleen Brooks, who happens to be my girlfriend. She's got a book here that she wanted to share with me here. It's called The Body Keeps Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. Don't have the author name in front of me here, but I wanted to credit that for you. And this kind of offers a little perspective. I'm going to do my very best to read this first paragraph of the book out loud. And it kind of, when you see somebody being upset, there's a lot more to it than maybe what they're dealing with in that moment. It's a lot of building, hence the body keeping score, right? Your body keeps score of every traumatic event that has happened. It doesn't just come and go. It stays, and you feel that, and you feel that heightened awareness, that heightened anxiety. Now you have to be on, and you're protecting. Your body's protecting itself. So the book starts out, one does not have to be a combat soldier or visit a refugee camp in Syria or the Congo to encounter trauma. Trauma happens to us, our friends, our families, and our neighbors. Research by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention has shown that 1 in 5 Americans was sexually molested as a child. 1 in 4 has been beaten by a parent to the point of a mark being left on their body. And 1 in 3 couples engages in physical violence. A quarter of us grew up with alcoholic relatives, and 1 out of 8 witnessed their mother being hit or beaten. Now that's crazy, and that's sad. And those things last. Those are things that last. And, I obviously can't speak on this. I'm fortunate firsthand. I had a good upbringing and, but wow, did you have to, if you haven't, great, good for you if you're like me, but you have to also understand that these people have been through some stuff. Now, to an extent, doesn't mean you have to lay down and be a punching bag They need to go handle their traumas and figure it out for themselves, kind of like we talked about before, and how some of those comments from social media said that you got to just be a good person and figure yourself out and change those things up. But the body keeps score, and it's not necessarily a person's intention to act how they do. They are just kind of like their traumas get revived, and they act out on it, and that could be at you over a little thing, after small little things. And I guess the only way I can put it, and if I sound dumb, I'm sorry, but like, someone snaps over something little, like they forgot to put the cheese on their burger at a restaurant, and they just lash out. There's a good chance that person is not mad about the burger. They're actually just unhealed inside. That's probably what it is. Although they should figure that out to not react to it. Again, they always say, how you react to things is really what drives everything. So that's sort of why are we all upset? These are some of the things. So in my own way to kind of close this thing up, what can we do? It really comes down to less screen time, less reaction, that stop thing that this Psychology Today article said to stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed. And I need to understand that myself. And I can speak on that one because I actually got a tattoo on my wrist of an iceberg glacier that kind of represents that, to stop, take a moment, and pause, then proceed. Because most times it's just reactive and we don't even know we're doing it. We don't know ourselves as much as we think we do. So that is my spiel for today. I wish I could leave you with more, but I am not qualified to leave you with more other than focusing on yourself. Take away and disconnect from negativity. If somebody's negative, I don't care who they are. If you've known them forever, I have disconnected from certain family members, and some I've reconnected with. And you know what? And it's just out of, you don't bring out the good in me. I've disconnected from some friends. Maybe I don't bring out the good in them. It's not just them. Maybe we're just not a good fit. Maybe we just don't get along. You're not supposed to get along with everybody. It's not going to happen. That's why world peace, like I was saying before, ain't going to happen. You're just not supposed to get along with everybody. You're not going to agree. And our differences should be celebrated more than they should be condemned, in my opinion. But that's just what I think. It's hard to do that on my end of things too. I'm a very opinionated person, and it's hard for me to do that. But I'm getting better, and I'd love to have like discussions like that. I actually enjoy a discussion with somebody who has a different viewpoint than me. But it's hard because it feels like it can escalate so much. It just shows how different we are. It really does. It shows that we all come from different places. So anyways, that is all I've got for you today. I want to thank everyone who kind of contributed to this one. I know I've been talking for a while, and I don't know what it is. I always feel like I can do a podcast in like 15, 20 minutes, and here we are 40 something minutes in, but hey, whatever. If you've listened to all this, like I've said before, thank you. I enjoy doing this. So anyways, that's that. If you want to talk more about anything like this, or you have something to say, or you agree or disagree with me, you know where to find me. And if you don't, I am on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X at MFS Wellness. You can shoot me an email, mike@mfswellness.com. Still doing the nutrition stuff, still doing some training. Going to get my training certification finished, and coming up with a new little program for everybody to kind of revive some things and change it up a little bit, consolidate. That's going to be fun. So more of that coming, more podcasts coming. If you want to be on this show, contact me at the same spot. If you want to talk, anyone and everyone's welcome. Come to me with a topic. I got sent a message after the creatine episode that somebody wants me to do a full episode, a deep dive on avocados. I don't know how well that's going to go over, but hey, why not? Let's do it. So until the next episode, whether or not it's on avocados, I will talk to you then.